everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of the Hey Listen podcast. It has been a little while. We apologise, but we wanted this one to be a themed Halloween episode. I am Dizzy Bess, and I am joined by...
I'm Miss Beltree.
And I'm everybody's favourite vegetable, cauliflower.
Ah.
And I'm a giraffe.
So myself, Tree, and Jeff, we all stream on Twitch, if you weren't aware, and Cauliflower often makes guest appearances on our streams, as well as some other streamers.
She has an emote. She has an emote now. She's official.
She does.
I've made it.
Tree went the extra mile.
The last episode, Miss Beltree had new emotes. This episode, I have some new emotes. My guinea pig emotes have gone live, and they've actually been altered since the last time you guys saw them.
Yeah.
So they are new as well from that time. They now actually have like words on them, so they can be used for a purpose rather than just being pictures of the guinea pigs.
Awesome.
But anyway, this stream, oh my goodness, you can tell I've been doing a bit of streaming recently.
We shouldn't do this late in the evening. We're a mess.
Oh dear. This episode, we are going to be talking about some of our favourite scary games, or games that particularly scared us quite a bit when we were younger, or even now, to be honest. So who would like to go first?
I will go first.
Yes.
Because this was quite a tradition in my house, and I absolutely loved it. Dizzy, you're probably too young.
Poor Dizzy. I feel like that's going to be a theme.
And
on this
it becomes a theme in almost every podcast I'm in.
Because this game, it was a board game, and it also came with a VHS tape.
Yes. I know which game she's talking about.
And it was called Atmosphere.
Yes.
Yes. So you got the game out, and you got it all set up, and then you got these little tombstones. You picked your character of all these scary characters, and you had to write your worst fear on these little tombstones.
Oh my
put them all in the middle. And then you have
to be honest.
You have to be absolutely honest, yeah. And you have to put the video in, and you have to press play, and you have an hour to win. It essentially starts with this clock on the screen with this really ominous music in the back, and it's counting either up or down. I can't actually remember. But you have someone leading you through it called the Gatekeeper. And it's like a graveyard keeper, a cemetery keeper. And as the time goes on, he gets like more and more undead. And every now and then he'll just bounce on screen and he'll demand that you do something. It's like the youngest one, you must do this, or the oldest one, you must do this. And it was great. We played it every Halloween. We just randomly get it out.
And what kind of things did you have to do?
Can't even remember. It's like go back some spaces or shuffle the tombstones in the end. Because to win, you have to get to the middle, pick one of the tombstones, and if it was your fear, you won.
I thought it would be like, tell us about your worst nightmare and we'll all laugh at you or something like that.
Things like that. It's tell a story and things like that. It was so long ago, I can't remember the specific things. I just always remember doing it. And I was always the youngest, so I was always the young one, and my dad was always the old one. So when these things had to be done, it was always me or him.
I was going to say, didn't I get... Because the problem with back then is that was a VHS tape. You couldn't have a variation on it. Like, there was just one way the game went. I only played it once, but I feel like maybe, because a friend had it, I feel like maybe like the scary things would be less scary if you played it again.
Potentially, but we didn't play it like every week or so. It was like once a year. So you would forget that all of a sudden this gatekeeper's going to jump on screen and shout something really loud and make you need new trousers. There is other versions of it as well. There was one with a DVD and it's a pyramid and it's a mummy and you do get the variation on that, but it's not as good. It's nowhere near as scary.
I do remember it being really scary. Like we played it at my friend Simon's house. There was a big group of us, and the problem is this the thing. Like I remember there was one bit where like he says, whoever it is, maybe it was the youngest or the oldest, and he was like, come close to the screen, come close to the screen. And so they got like really close to the screen and he just shouts really loudly at them.
Yes, it was the youngest because I remember doing that.
It's really funny though when you think about it, because like we were young, or at least I was young when I played it, and you could have just ignored him. Like what was making you do what he said? It's just that you all sort of agreed to like do what the game says. I don't know, it's kind of what's amazing about games, I guess, really, isn't it? Like you all agree to do something.
You will do as you told.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get into the moment of it. And I feel like there are quite a few games nowadays that are quite board games and stuff come with soundtracks and stuff to create an atmosphere. The one that I was going to talk about is a game called Mysterium, and it's basically Clue or Cluedo. And you have one person who is the ghost. And they can't talk. The ghost cannot talk throughout the entire thing. And everybody else are psychics. And you've got a soundtrack with it, so you've got all this scary music, and there's you've got a clock, and that tells you like what turn you're on, and so the music has like clock chimes and things in it, and the ghost hands out these cards which are visions to tell the players like who killed them, where they were killed, what they were killed with, and things like that. And there's various different ways you can make it harder with like more cards and things like that, but it's really, really atmospheric and it's great. And I remember because I played this at university, and we just spent hours into the early morning playing this game over and over again, with different people being the ghosts and things like that, and it's great
It's
fun.
a different college experience that I've had, but it's very wholesome.
I mean, I lived in a house of the we were all part of the board and card gaming society, and most of us were committee members, so we had board games, and that was what we used to do.
Yeah.
Like we used to that was the way we used to like drink, was we would drink and play board games at home.
Very wholesome.
But yeah, I loved Mysterium. Is a great game, and it's got some expansions and some different versions of it now, and I really want to get some of the new copies if I can.
I really enjoy that there's a whole genre of games that are a combination of board game and some sort of app or other digital medium.
Yeah.
So there's along the same lines of Mysterium. There's well, not along the same lines, but maybe in the same world as Mansions of Madness.
Yes.
Like is a game sort of that has and XCOM. There are a ton of board games which have additional apps that let you. Which I mean, what it does, I think, is it does exactly what that atmosphere VHS did, but with randomization, which makes the replayability of it much better.
Yeah, definitely.
So you can sort of, if you really love a game, you can keep playing it because it'll scare you in different ways next time, and that's really adding nothing to it.
I think the people who developed these games and these apps are the same people who played the games that had the VHS, and they thought about like what could make this better, and you know the replayability would be a big factor of that with the VHS, like you say. Carly, you played it once a year and that was okay because you forgot like what was going on, but like you said, if you'd played it every week it would get old pretty quickly. So I feel like
you couldn't have played Atmosphere like once a week, because then you would it's not scary anymore, and it was supposed to be scary. It's supposed to have you on the edge of your seat, and that's what's great about something about that build the atmosphere that's going around it and create the suspense as well. And when you could throw yourself right into it and you can really get joined in on that suspense, it really does make it far more enjoyable to be able to play with people.
Yeah,
definitely. But for it constantly being the same, it's like Cards Against Humanity. You play it a couple of times with your friends and it ends up being like the same things put down over and over and over again. So you want something that's going to give you that variety to keep you involved.
I see, when it comes to board games, I have a few. Atmosphere was the first one in my mind, actually, when I was thinking earlier, because that was when I was a kid. And then, like, out of nowhere, I don't know why I didn't think this sooner, but like, because I was thinking earlier today about like, oh, scary board games. I looked at my shelf and there's like at least 3 scary board games on my shelf.
Nice. What you got?
I don't have that many board games. I have a few, but I don't have like a huge number. There's one that makes me really sad because it's so far unplayed. Which I bought. Do any of you know Betrayal at the House on Haunted Hill?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a legacy version of it.
I heard decent things about that.
Yeah, I thought it sounded really fun, and I bought it like about a week before coronavirus arrived in the UK. So yeah, I bought it, and I had this great plan for like a group of friends who I thought would be really fun to play it with. And I think we've got together to play board games like once in all the time since because of COVID. So yeah, that's a sad one. Maybe that's good, maybe it's not. Like the original Betrayal House on Haunted Hill is like quite good, I think. I don't own that one, but like I've played it. But I thought this seemed fun because it's like, I don't know, I really like the idea of like the legacy version of it, because it's like a spooky house, and over time like the stories change the house and stuff. That seemed really fun. But
Betrayal is
anyway.
a secret identity game, isn't it?
Yes. I think I quite like those.
I personally, I'm not a big fan of social deduction games. I get very stressed. They really stress me. That's regardless of whether I'm the baddie or the not. Like, I just get, because when I lived at my uni house, with all my board game friends, they used to play a lot of a game called Spyfall. And there's a mobile version of it. You can go to like a website and play it. And basically the idea is you are at a location and the spy has to figure out the location and everyone else has to figure out the spy. And I was terrible at it because it was just an asking questions game. So like if you're in an airport, see, everybody in my group started making airplane jokes. But the person who was the spy had not seen the movie, so they didn't get it. But yeah, so you ask questions and that, and I was terrible at it, regardless of whether I'd either ask questions that were too obvious as to where we were, or really obvious that I didn't know where we were. I couldn't ask generic enough questions either way, and it was just, I was really, really bad at it.
Is it also that you're not very good at lying? Because I find that I'm terrible at social deduction games, partially because I just am averse to lying, so I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
and if I have to, it's a pain in the ass.
There's occasionally I can be quite good at them. Like, I remember playing once and I managed to convince two other people that the other one was the spy, and but that happens very rarely. More often than not, I'm sitting there going, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just stressed right now, and it's really obvious that because I'm sitting there like rocking in my chair, going, "Oh my god, I'm the spy!" Like, it's very rare that I can actually lie quite well. So yeah, I think that also doesn't help, and that stresses me out even further.
Did you do Among Us during the Among Us craze?
No. Although
I did, and I really enjoyed it.
I have found a clone which I kind of want to try, not because it's Among Us, but because it's Goose Goose Duck, and you have to find out who the duck is.
I think I've heard of that one. I did play Among Us, and I actually really like those kinds of games where you're trying to figure out who's who.
Oh, man, I hate it.
I'm actually really good at them.
I can't do it. I can't lie. I just want to be like, yes, it's me. But I really like the murdery bits. Like, I like sabotaging and stabbing people, but if you ask me straight up, are you the murderer? I'd be like,
yes,
yeah, sure, why not? And it was great.
So like,
blood dripping from teeth.
So I don't know if I've missold, because I don't actually own it. Like the Betrayal at the House on Haunted Hill. Like I think that actually isn't like that. I think that one is like you all go explore the house together. And then there's a moment when one of you just gets told your role is now changing. It turns out you're the bad guy, and now you've got to do this job.
So you don't even know you're the bad guy.
No, I think that's different because I actually, again, like the original game of that, I've only played it like once or twice. I just thought this is quite fun. Then I saw the Legacy version and thought, I want to try it because the other Legacy games that like I've seen people play, like Pandemic Legacy and Risk Legacy just seems. I mean, I'm not that interested in Risk anyway, but like it just seems like everyone I know who's played that has ended up hating each other. And Pandemic Legacy, I probably would have played Pandemic Legacy if I'd had a group to play it with, but now I don't want to play anything to do with the pandemic. It's just my current mindset. But there's another horror game which I do own and do really like. Neither of these is my favourite. I'm saving the best one till last. But there's one which I think, from what Collie said, she might really like, which is Dead of Winter. And it's funny because what you guys have just been saying, like, I really like the mechanic of Dead of Winter. I think it's really fun, but I hate it when I have to be the bad guy, because I'm the same as you guys. I actually hate lying. Like, I hate having to do it. It's like a zombie survival setup. You're rolling like a shelter, and there's like different objectives that you can set beforehand as the group objective. There's like different stories basically you can choose, but then everyone gets assigned a secret objective as well. So you all have to have a secret thing that you're trying to do, whether you're with the group or against it. And then there's a chance, but not a certainty, that one person will also be sabotaging. But because everyone has a secret objective anyway that they can't talk about, everyone will act a bit weird. Like, everyone has to act a bit weird. Like, everyone has to do things that aren't like in the interests of everyone else. I think because I'm so interested in like stuff that's story driven. Like, I love the story of games like that, because to me, the way the mechanic builds, like, and you've got like numbers of zombies that are like building up at all the different places you can go, and generally like you have like a way that like everyone can lose, and then everyone's got to win. Like there's a collective win you can get, but you also, if you want to be part of the win, you have to have done your secret thing as well. It just like really builds the tension really nicely, and then you get that sort of point where everyone's really paranoid and starts accusing each other. And again, like I don't know, because like part of me hates that as well. Like I don't love the argument, but the tension of it and like the story of like, oh, I don't know, it feels like a movie. I like that it feels like a movie, like you're all in there together. And like when you watch those sorts of horror movies, that's what happens. Everyone gets suspicious of each other and they get like creeped out by each other, and then they start, all the like bonds you have at the beginning start coming apart. And like, I don't know, I like the story of it.
Sounds like you like chaos and mayhem.
And stories.
Not a lot. I
There
do
are
like
quite a few
stories.
legacy games that have pretty good stories, and I think there's a tendency for them to go a bit dark, especially towards the end. So it sounds like you need more legacy games in your life.
Well, that's why I bought the Betrayal Legacy right before the bloody pandemic.
And less COVID, yes. Also
Right.
that.
The world got in my way.
Everyone to
Yeah.
Tree's place. We're gonna play this game.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
everybody's invited.
Honestly,
Everybody's heard this.
I think we just need to have a board game night and just bring all of our favorite board games. I'll bring Mysterium, and like Collie, you can
I'll
bring.
bring Monopoly.
Oh no,
It's banned.
that's the scariest game of all.
Oh no, I'm great at Monopoly. I'll be the banker.
Mhm.
Oh, I can't stand Monopoly.
it's awful. Everyone fights.
mean-
That's like the only reason that like people play Monopoly is to
exactly a
argue with
game,
each
is it?
other.
I mean, like, I would love to bring Atmosphere to someone's house and have a fucking night. But
Oh my god!
I mean, this is on a VHS. I mean, does this even exist anymore?
My
Someone
dad-
must have put it on YouTube. Someone must have.
almost definitely there must be on YouTube.
Furiously Googling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. I think we're all googling right at this
We're
moment.
on this, yeah. So next podcast, actually next stream, is just going to be us playing Atmosphere and getting freaked out.
I wish
The
I wish you were this
youngest and the
closer. I'd be well up
oldest.
for that. Oh, I'd be the oldest
Oh.
and everything. That's awful.
That's I'm such a
Oh
scaredy
my
cat.
God.
I've never played these scary like jump scare games, and I can't even. I'm looking at this and it's making me kind of nervous, which is why I can't even tell you what the scariest game I've ever played was, because if I see something scary either in a movie or a game, I'm just like, nope, I'm out. You guys play in
Right.
this room. I'm gonna go sit over there and
The next time you're in this country, Giraffe,
no.
admit we're doing.
Yes.
I'll hold your hand, but you won't be the young one.
I'll be the middle one. It's okay if all the lights are on and there's like cupcakes and puppies and
Right, okay. I
Big
will
fluffy
bring
things
I,
being
I will
green. The
bring
guinea pigs.
cupcakes, but the lights are being off.
We'll
Okay,
have
it's
four
a
fluffy
deal.
things running around our feet.
All right,
Yes.
that's
But
perfect.
Lights off. Lights off. Gotta be
Okay,
lights
and
off.
we're streaming it. It's perfect.
Oh,
It's
my
Oh yeah,
God.
we'll absolutely
We've got
stream
to stream it, yeah.
It's quality
my
content
gosh.
coming up, and a Disney
Wow.
stream near you.
I mean, why do you think I put the jump scare sounds in my stream? Even though I'm already playing a scary game, people make
my
me jump
God, no.
even further because they get like it makes they love it. They love making me jump. Like when I was playing
couldn't do that.
Alien Isolation the other day. Oh my god, the doors were slamming everywhere and screams were coming out my ears. It's like, oh my god.
Well, of course, chat does, because being a troll is part of playing. Being chat, right?
Yeah, and that's
So,
why I gave
you
them
know
that
it's gonna
power.
come.
Oh yeah, I deliberately did it. I knew they'd love
You
it.
sacrificed yourself for chat.
Yeah.
That's very
I mean,
very courageous
yeah.
of you.
Alien Isolation. I mean, I can't talk a lot about it because I haven't finished it, so I don't know like everything that goes on in
Sounds
it. But
terrible.
already, it's very, very good at like creating an atmosphere and creating, a sense of always like looking around and checking where you are and you're being watched at all times, kind of thing. You never know where the alien is, never. And
Do you
like,
ever have nightmares after the fact?
No,
okay.
I
Well, in
think
that case-
I think for me, because I'm very strange in the fact that I hate horror movies. I cannot watch a horror movie. I can't watch anything scary, but
It's even more inconsistent.
I can play horror games, and I think in my brain, with a horror movie, I have no control over what's happening. I have no control over what the characters decide to do or whatever. There's not. And with horror games, you do have that a little bit, but I have way more control, and I get a gun. So like, I'm much happier.
That's what it's about.
Just give Disney a gun. That's what it comes down to.
No, it's the sense of like I have more control over the fate of the character. I make mostly the decisions. There are some things where you physically cannot make any further decisions, but like I can go hide in that corner and sit there for a good 5 minutes while I calm myself down before I go into the scary door that's just creaked open. Like I have some semblance of control, and I think that's why I don't have nightmares with horror games.
I hear Cauliflower has a gun.
I can get one. I don't. I have a.
She knows a guy.
I do.
Oh my gosh.
I genuinely do.
I mean, to be fair, I know Giraffe, and Giraffe lives in America, so at worst you'd have to drive over a couple of states and buy a gun. That wouldn't be too hard.
Just go outside and they hand them out like candy.
Listen, I lived in Missouri for 2 years. I know that you can literally go to Walmart and buy a gun.
Oh, that's Missouri. That's very different from New York City. New York City is actually quite shut. Like
I have heard that when you cross the state line into Texas, there's just 2 Lone Rangers at the side of the road handing out AK-47.
Just give you a gun.
You got us.
Oh dear.
I'm amazed. Well, so having somewhat recently entered this Blood Bowl community and having the majority of the folks here being Europeans or mostly in Britain, the image you guys have of America is remarkable. It's just wild, wild west out there, but with AK-47s. It was like,
to be fair, though, we do end up with Americans like just saying to Europe. I'm referring to the entirety of Europe as one entity.
Hey, every European from every country that I've met so far is an identical copy. You guys are complete clones. Well, there's 2. There's a boy clone and a girl clone, and that's it. Didn't you guys know?
One non-binary clone.
Moving on to the next
topic. Can I say one more? Because it's the stupidest one. I haven't said it yet. I have a board game called Camp Grizzly that is just like, it's barely a game because it was like a Kickstarter game, which I just loved the idea of, and so I got on it. And it's like in an American summer camp, and it's like a horror movie. Like it's sort of supposed to start with like someone, the masked killer shows up and he's got his bear mask and he's killed the camp counselor, and then you get like a character, and you've got to go and run around while this guy's killing people and find different things that will let you escape. And there's different ways you can escape. Like you can escape on a boat or by a van or like climb the radio tower or something. But it's just like you can sort of try and move and like like his last location, so you try and move away from it. But literally every time you take an action, there's like you have to draw a card. And sometimes the card will just be like, yeah, he shows up. And so it's like completely impossible to know what you're doing because it's a horror movie, and a horror movie like doesn't actually work like a real thing. I love it. It's totally stupid. And I think I love it because like I can play quite serious games, but I'm not actually a very serious person. And so I think I really like that it's like this funny game. With the story, you make a great story as you go along because it's like events every time. Like you go places, like you find things and stuff happens. But also like you can't be a serious gamer about it. Yeah. I think I like that.
I love anything that just takes the seriousness out of anything.
Yeah. I think that there's times for serious games and that, but when it's just straight up just random quirkiness and fun, it's like those are the games that you remember and the ones that you're like, I want to play that. You never really, if you're having a board game night, you might like bring out 1 or 2, but you never just like, do you want to play this game? Yeah, let's play this, like just spontaneously. You tend to do that with the silly ones, I find anyway.
Chaos and mayhem, it is the only way.
But I think that leads us quite nicely onto the next sort of question. And a couple of weeks ago, I put out some social media posts asking you guys who are listening for your questions or things that you want us to talk about. And this doesn't have to be board games, or it can be any kind of gaming system. And one of the questions that was asked was, what is our favorite game mechanics or systems? So things like crafting, combat, achievement unlocking, things like that. And then also, on top of that, what are our best or worst gaming achievements? So who would
Oh,
like
gosh.
to go first?
Ooh. I can't really think of an actual like mechanic that I really like, but something that I really enjoyed playing is roguelike games.
Yes.
You get chaos and mayhem. I love when it's different every time, and I can sit there and continue playing the same game over and over again, but it's different every single time I'm doing it.
Can you explain what that is to me? Because I don't actually know what that means. It's like a category of game.
So like a roguelike is like you go into a dungeon, but every single time you go into this dungeon, it's different.
Okay.
So the layout is different. The enemies you come across might be different. The weapons and the pickups and everything is different.
I can see why that's good, because like that means you don't have the same experience twice. It's unlike
Exactly.
Atmosphere.
Yes, it's unlike Atmosphere.
I think for me, I really like achievement unlocking because it makes me, it gives me something to work towards in a game. I don't like games where it's too open. Like I do like open world games and open things, open games where you can do everything. But I like there to be something that I can achieve, whether that's in like Breath of the Wild, Zelda, where you've got to go find all the different guardian
On that.
yeah, exactly. Those sorts of things. Or if you like in Pokemon going and catching all the Pokemon, or you know, whatever. I really like I really like having something to work to, and you know, going, I've done that and I've actually achieved that, and there's only one game on the PlayStation 3. I think there's only one game where I've like unlocked every single trophy in the game, and that is Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. And I unlocked every single one of those trophies, and I was so proud of myself when I did it. I'm like, that's my peak, you know, that's
Nothing will ever be better than this. This is it. I can get married, I can have children, but this is that moment.
So I think for me, achievement unlocking, it just adds something to the game and makes gives it like not necessarily a sense of purpose, because story and things like that are also very important, but just having that little bit extra just to you know, if you want to just turn it on for like a little bit, you know, you don't want to necessarily progress with the story too much, you can go try and get some achievements or whatever.
Yeah, I like that with side quests. I will never forget when Skyrim was first released, and this was a million years ago, and I was still in university, and it was released around my birthday, which is soon, guys. Just saying. And I remember I got Skyrim. I was given a bottle of Jack Daniels as a present, and I sat down and I just started playing.
Drink
and
it
I was
all.
like, we don't need to talk about that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I remember thinking, right, at one point, I'm just going to finish all these side quests, and then I'll go to bed. I saw the sunrise, and my birthday's in November.
Well,
And it's just continue. I was talking about it with my husband the other night. I have sunk hundreds upon hundreds of hours into Oblivion, but I've never finished the main storyline.
Are you a completionist?
No.
Do you have to do every single? No. Then how did
No,
that
it's
happen?
not that I have to do every single side quest. It's like it's Oblivion. You walking around like, oh, there's a ruin there. Wonder what's inside there. Like, right, I'll start heading towards this main quest. Oh, look, a cave. What's inside here? And oh, look at this village. I wonder what I can loot and pillage.
It's like expanding the map. You want the map to be complete. I want to find every corner of the map and explore it before I do any quests. God damn it, there are quests along the way. I need to go do this quest.
I've only recently finished the main quest in Skyrim.
No.
It's like, this bit is foggy. I need to extend the map so this bit isn't foggy anymore. Wait, no, keep going. It's still going. Oh, this map is... Okay, we're going this way now. This is the direction we're heading. There's no stopping us this time.
Yeah, it's like Skyrim. I've got it on my laptop. I had it on my 360. I've got it on my Switch. I've got it on the fridge. Apparently, you know, it's all on every single console. And I've had it like 3 or 4 times, and I've still only just finished the main quest, and only because my husband said, "You've never done the main quest." I went, "Oh, for God's sake, fine, I'll do it."
Well, it's not very exciting, is it?
Main quest?
That's not the
No.
best part
I
of it.
mean, I wanted to go chasing dragons. I wanted to do the Dark Brotherhood. And I wanted to do the Thieves Guild, and these things were fun. And I forgot there was a main quest. It's like, this is the game, right?
Yeah.
Wait,
Have you
so
played
I
Witcher?
haven't played Skyrim, but you're saying that there's dragons and that isn't
There's
the main
dragons.
quest. How is that not the main
quest?
quest?
But
It
you can
is,
just
but
kind
it
of walk
isn't.
around and yeah, it is, but it isn't. But you can just walk around
Right.
and find dragons, and it's like, I'm gonna kill that dragon. Come
There are
on,
a lot
bro.
of dragons. Or you can
Get
ride
wrecked,
dragons.
nerds.
Spoiler alert, you can ride dragons. Fly them, I suppose. Do you ride
Most.
dragons?
With them,
Is that a
you
word?
ride. Yeah, there's one dragon that you can ride, but you can also, if you're on PC, mod the shit out of it and do whatever the hell you want.
There you go.
So, favorite game mechanics, Giraffe?
I'm a big fan of tech trees because it's it's build your own toy, right? So you can kind of figure out what kind of game you want to play and what kind of and this goes in board games and video games, right? It's you have them in Skyrim, for example, and you can figure out what kind of scary person you want to be. I don't Dragonborn, is that what you are in?
Yes.
You are.
Yeah, what kind of
right.
Dragonborn you want to be?
Those
and you
things
kind of
exist, but I will always be an elf mage, even if I try to go archer.
really, no matter
Yeah.
what.
No matter what, you always end up down there. So I'm always going to be a mage.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that's because you are a magical person. You're like,
I am.
well, I mean, you
I
are. You're
am.
talking cauliflower, right? Talking
Exactly.
vegetables,
With sunglasses.
magical with sunglasses. That's right. And I tend to just gravitate towards things that don't require a lot of dexterity. So anything where I can just like bash people because I can't aim, I can't do anything that actually requires work. So and there are plenty of board games also that have their own mini versions of an engine that you build or a tech tree that you build, and you gravitate towards things that make sense for you. And so yeah, I'm a big fan of build your own character or build your own mechanic kind of thing.
Yeah, I do really enjoy that, where you can really, really customize yourself.
What sort of like computer games have tech trees like that? What I'm trying to think of examples, and I'm probably just being like, I feel like I'm not that sort of computer game knowledgeable compared to some of you.
It's mostly
Definitely
like
all the Elder Scrolls games.
RPG games. So
Yeah.
games where you're building characters from like a level 0 and you keep leveling. Those tend to have a tech tree where you'll like choose a level
Or a skill tree.
Yeah, skill tree
Okay.
or something like that. So you can choose like dodge roll or catching an arrow. I don't know why that came into my head, but like you get lots of different like skills that are like strength or dexterity or health, and you pick which sort of way you want to go. So do you want to be more strength based, health based, dexterity based, magic based, or whatever, and build down that road until you are until you're like level 50 and you're a fully fledged mage or a fully fledged fighter or whatever.
We do it in Blood Bowl, don't we? We build our characters, our players exactly how we want. It's like, I want you to be an absolute murderosaurus. So you're going to have Pom, you're going to have Claw, and you are just going to wreck their face.
That was how I was sold Blood Bowl in a way that, because for a while I didn't want to try it, I didn't want to learn it because I'm not very good at spatial games. But the moment this aspect of the meta team building came across, I was like, all right, I got to try it, and it seems fun.
I think that's a really important part of Blood Bowl. I really do, actually. Like in terms of its appeal, I mean, like in terms of why people like it, I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I love watching when you're watching other people. People have so many different teams. Like there's Andy Davo with his Frenzy Orcs, and then you've got like Clawpom Chorse, and then you get these really dodgy elves, and I don't mean dodgy in a good sense.
Rude.
Except Trees Woodies, they are amazing. So like people can have the same team but build them entirely differently.
And that's part of how people get emotionally attached to their players, right? Which seems a little weird. These are pixels, there's no question. But also but this was my pixel, and I was there when it was just born. It was just but a newbie little rookie player, and now look at its cute little claw palm.
This is like, it's funny because it's like all different sort of. I find it really interesting because like I guess that's the game that like we found each other through. Like we all sort of were either playing or watching Blood Bowl, and that's how we all know each other to begin with. And like you've talked about like the tech trees and like how that sort of overlaps with Blood Bowl, and that's how it's interesting. But then even what you're saying at the end there about like the pixels and the like getting attached to them is basically, to me, it's what I've already said before about other games on this podcast. Like, I'm just so into the stories.
Mm.
So it's kind of the same thing. It's just from a different angle. Because when I first was playing Budbud on tabletop, I probably wouldn't have played more than a couple of games if it wasn't for the fact that we were playing our little league with like 5 of us or 6 of us. And after every game, there was like a story to write. And like, you know, oh, and this character who's got a name because we named them all has done this ridiculous thing. And now they've rolled this stat. And isn't that sort of building the story of it? And
well, for me, it was the irony of I had named my players after Buffy the Vampire Slayers, and the accuracy in which my players got KO'd or killed. Like Tara died 5 times, and Giles kept getting knocked out, and it was like, this is like, so for that, for me, was like, I think what drew it to like enhance my experience was because, you know, my players were imitating the characters that they were named after, which I found very funny.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's a game. It's no story to it. Nobody's ever given you any background. I mean, I know you got the commentary from Bob and Jim and everything, but all of a sudden we've given it its own story. Whether we're naming the players after people in chat or after characters in a TV show, we just by actually giving them names, we give them their own personality on our head, and we get so much more attached. And then you end up with an emotional apple, and then something important dies.
That's why I never get attached to my halflings. Even though, like, I'll name them after chat or whatever. But the halflings, they are replaceable and they can die. The trees, however, no. I don't want my trees to die.
Cannonballs just get flung and they're never used again.
Exactly.
Oh.
Well, I have a halfling team, and my halflings are literally called ball number 1 through 13. Or whatever.
I love it. So best and worst gaming achievements. Is it alright if I go first with this one? Because I think,
of course.
I think
Absolutely.
I think my
We're going to
best...
hear about the 100% on the PS3 again.
Oh no! That's not my best gaming achievement. I think the best one was most recently where if you didn't see my Alien Isolation stream the other day, I managed to survive miraculously by sitting in the middle of the floor.
Oh my
and
goodness.
the alien just walked straight past me. And I'm like, I don't think that could ever get better. I genuinely do not think I can top that, just sitting in the middle of the floor in this game and the xenomorph just walking straight past me and ignoring me.
That's amazing.
Very nice.
It's been highlighted, so it is on my Twitch channel, and I will be putting it up on YouTube as well. But I was just, I don't think anything in gaming will ever top that.
There was, when I was a kid is overstating. I used when I was a kid way too much. It's probably when I was a teenager. But there was a thing in London. I don't know those of you who've been to London if you know Trocadero at all, but there's like an area of Piccadilly which is central London. And I don't even know what it's like now because I haven't been there in ages, but there used to be like a big arcade at Trocadero and like video game arcade. But they had this attraction for a while called, I can't even think what it was called anymore. But it was Alien something, like around the Alien video game, movie franchise, sorry. And like it was like a physical, like you went in groups, and there were people, I guess, acting as Marines or something from the Alien movies, and they would lead you around this sort of mazy area of all metal stuff, and you were being chased by aliens. And I did it once as part of a big group, and it was just genuinely terrifying. And there were all these, because you're like a teenager, there's all these stories that have been told about it, and it was before like things like this were easily checkable online. So all these stories about, oh, someone's died in there, like something like someone was so scared that they just had a heart attack and all this stuff. And it's so weird because like it's, when I think about it, I'm like, it's one of those things where I started to doubt it was even real. I'm like, if that was real, why isn't it a thing now? Like, why aren't those sorts of, it definitely was real. Like it was definitely a thing. And I was thinking of it when you were playing that game.
I don't remember that particular one, but I do remember things like that. There used to be one outside Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
I love Blackpool. What was it?
I can't remember. I never actually went in. It was really expensive, But I remember it being there, and I always remember hearing the screams and stuff like that from people coming out of it, and people coming out of it absolutely terrified.
I'm looking online and it was a real thing. I haven't completely made it up.
No, you haven't made it up. Those kinds of things were a real thing. Right. Oh, I couldn't remember anything for this greatest gaming achievement. And then all of a sudden, I just remembered it. And I remember when this happened, I turned off my console, put my controller down, turned my TV off, and it's like, well, nothing's ever going to top that ever again.
Oh my God.
Because I played a lot of games in university. I'm not very good at them, though. Well, I enjoy playing. I don't mind losing. I'm quite happy to lose. I just want to have fun playing it. And I love the Halo series. And it was Halo Reach while I was in high school on the 360. And I liked playing online and I liked playing teams. So I think there was either 4 or 6 teams of 2. And it was a firefight and you had a partner and you got to try and get as many kills as possible and die as infrequently as possible. And I remember that my teammate quit and I was on my own. It was fine. I'm running around on this map and everything. And I kind of stopped to have a quick drink, and all of a sudden, another player spawned right in front of me. And I panicked. I threw a sticky grenade at him. I meleeed him. He fell down this hole, blew up, and took 6 other players out with him.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
And I just got this achievement for killing 7 people. I could probably still find it on my Xbox Live or something like that. But that is quite literally my proudest moment. I finished that. I put it all down. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with gaming. I have completed gaming. Okay, now I'm happy and I'm done.
Don't need to do anything else.
That's it. No, nothing's going to top that one.
I don't know if I have any good achievements. I did recently actually do my first 1 turn, so that was exciting.
Oh,
That is
very
that
But
is an
in
achievement.
such a Steam company, I'm not sure that I can just be too excited about that.
Of course you can.
I can give you
Don't
my
be
biggest gaming
ridiculous.
fail.
Everyone remembers their first time.
That's right. Everybody remembers their first 1 turn in Blood Bowl. My biggest gaming fail was when I'm gonna go back to Mass Effect because it's my true love and my baby, and Mass Effect is just the greatest game ever. And the thing you can do there is you can have romantic relationships with other players. And you, speaking of getting emotionally attached, you absolutely getting emotionally attached to various players. And I decided that I was going to do a second playthrough where I really wanted to romance or have an attachment with or have sex with with this person. His name's Caden. He's a human, and I wanted to have human on human sexual relations. And so what you do is you wind up going and you speak to them for a while, and after a lot of hours, you wind up like eventually getting close enough and intimate enough, and then at some point, what I imagine would happen, because spoiler alert, it's not going to happen in the story. What I imagine would happen is you say, "Hey, wanna go and have some sex?" and he would be like, "Why, yes, yes, I do." And then you go off, and there's a very PG and a scene that implies that sex is being had. And so I really wanted to make this happen. And the problem was that I was running autosave, and I wasn't really saving very well. So basically, autosave would just keep overwriting the last save. So I had this only 1 copy of this game, and I'm playing, and I'm getting really close to this time. But I'm also friendly with this alien woman, Liara, for people who have played Mass Effect.
She's hot.
And she is both hot, and she is basically the default option
She's very
of
blue,
the
though.
person that you wind up, and she's blue, that's right, having sex with if you do nothing else. So at some point they come up, and apparently I was very friendly with Liara too, and they come up to you and they say, "Hey, what's happening? You've been kind of flirtatious with both of us, but tell us which one you like more." And one of the option is, "Can't I have both?"
Oh no.
Oh my God.
The story is, I couldn't help myself. If I see that as an option, I absolutely go with, "Can't I have both?" And Caden the prude is like, "Well, no, you cannot." So first of all, Liara's like, "Sure, I'm down with that." And Caden is like, "No, we're not into that. And I'm sorry, but I guess you just have to do it with Liara." And then autosave kicks in. So now I wasted like 10 hours, maybe more, playing this game. The only purpose was to have sex with Caden. And yeah, so I mean, I absolutely earned that. It was my fault, but what did we learn? Something about bird in hand to, and I don't know. So I did a very similar thing to Cauliflower, but with much less happiness. I closed the computer, I shut down the computer, and just went and was trying not to cry because of how ridiculous the situation is. But the frustration was very palpable.
Oh, but you put all that time into it though. Like, I totally understand. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
all I wanted to do was have sex with Caden. And then, I mean, it's all my fault. I was just so greedy. I was like, I want a threesome with a hot alien and a guy. Do it. And yeah, anyway. So that's my this is not my biggest achievement. That's my biggest gaming fail, I think.
Hasn't everybody like just had that moment with a game where you're doing it? You might have played it before or something, and something happens, and you just think, "Oh, I'm done with this." Because I did it a few days ago in No Man's Sky. I'd been playing it like every night for about 3 weeks, and I had this great settlement, and it was making loads of money, and I was like zooming all over the universe. I had loads of friends. I was killing loads of things. It was great fun. And then I thought, I'm gonna build an empire, because the achievement that you get when you first start to get the settlement calls you an overlord.
Ooh.
And in my mind, an overlord needs to be lord of lots of things. So I went out and I'm like, I'm going to find all these settlements and I'm going to get them all, and we are going to be absolutely stinking rich. So I'd spent loads of time and resources on the first one for it to start to become profitable. Went out and eventually found one that I could take over on a reasonable planet that I wouldn't mind spending some time on, that I'm not going to like poison myself or drown or whatever. And I became the overseer of it. Only that gets rid of your original settlement.
Oh no.
So I was like, I'd just spent like a week purely focused on this, and I was like, no, that's it. I'm done. I haven't
never
picked it
to
up
play
since.
again.
I might pick it up for a new playthrough, but I won't be going back on that playthrough. I'm done.
Yeah.
They ruined it. They destroyed. My disappointment was legendary, and my day was ruined.
Yeah, I believe it. I'm sorry.
I think that's like also maybe would be even worse, because some of these things, like when you're a kid and you've got all the time in the world to play computer games, I mean, you don't actually, but you do compared to now. Like, you can sort of ride those things out more. But I feel like as an adult, you've got so much more things demanding your time, and you've put all that time into it, and then no.
Yeah,
but also, as an adult, like rage quitting just seems so much more immature.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know. It feels wrong, but at the same time, you just, I haven't touched Mass Effect since my rejection.
For me, I used to play this. It's another Cyanide game called Styx.
Cyanide has other games.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's only Blood Bowl.
But yeah, I got to this point. So basically, it's you're basically like this hobgoblin creature, and you're stealthing around and you're killing guards and things and doing all different kinds of things, and it's basically sneaking around the entire time. And it got to this section where you had to follow this guy. You met up with this guy, and he was going to tell you something or do something, I don't know. And you had to follow him through the library and out, and just go out. And the guards have, that mechanic where they can like detect you, or they go, huh? Or they can sort of sense something's there, and then like the bar fills up until they see you and they know you're there. They weren't even allowed, like in this section, it was, you had to get through without getting any kind of attention. So they couldn't even not notice you. They couldn't even hear a noise or know that something was there. And I just tried this level over and over again, and even when I didn't do anything, I caught their attention, or something would they'd trigger. And sometimes when that's happening to me in a game, I can step away for a day or two, come back to it, and I do it in one try. No, I was trying this level for over a year. I was just doing the same level over and over again till I was like, either it's glitched or something's not right here, because it's just picking me up every time. I can't get through this one level. That's it, I'm done. And so that was where I gave up with that game, which I did really enjoy it. And so I have actually re-downloaded the second game. I haven't re-downloaded the same game, but the second one of the series I've re-downloaded, so I might stream that at some point. But it's, this level is stuck in my head that I never completed it. Not because, it was I forgot about the game or anything like that, which has happened with many games where I've just like not gone back to them. No, this one I tried actively to finish this level for over a year, to a point where I deleted the entire game and uninstalled it from my dad's PlayStation.
I feel like that's something that would look good on your resume in the right places, right? Like, I have the determination to stick with something for a year. I don't know if anybody would appreciate it, but I think I would. It's like something about your character.
Anybody who's hiring out there?
I was going to say, have you got a job to offer, Giraffe? Can you hire someone?
I think it's in a very different area of expertise.
I feel like I'm really struggling with this question of the biggest gaming fails, because like I'm rubbish at games. Like I don't think I'm good at them.
Semifinals of Rebels says begs to differ.
No,
Well, yeah.
Blood Bowl I've got okay at, but like video games, 'cause I don't feel like Blood Bowl is a video game. Blood Bowl is like a board game that has gone on to the video game thing.
A way of life.
And
And by the way, listeners, did you know that our own Misspelled Treat is in the quarterfinals of the Rebel playoffs? How amazing! Round of applause! Hooray!
it's
Wait,
actually the
quarterfinals or
semi-final now.
semifinals?
I just won my quarterfinal.
One of those finals. One of them. One game from the final.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Thank you.
Drew.
I don't know.
Yay!
I honestly,
Good luck.
I honestly think that is like my biggest gaming achievement, because I'm not, again, like I don't have like I'm not like a very sort of, honestly, before even like this last podcast, we did the first one, and I think I was saying this to you all, like I don't like think of myself as like a gamer that much, because I think for quite a lot of years actually I hadn't played games really at all, like on computers. Like I did have video games when I was a kid and then a teenager, and then I hadn't, and then Blood Bowl has been like a gateway drug back in a little bit, but I was much more playing like tabletop games. Now I'm a bit more interested in playing some other video games now. But yeah, like I think for achievement that might really be it, because I don't know what else I would put up there. Like when I completed as a teenager Final Fantasy VII, I was very proud of myself, because that was 3 CDs and took forever. But other than that, like I can't think of anything. And
Well,
the biggest,
that is an amazing achievement, and we are really proud of you and can't wait to see the next game.
thank you. It's really nice having people cheering. I can give my I think my greatest gaming fail. This one is genuinely awful though, because it's not really failing at a game. It's something that like, it's one of those moments that when you think back to it, I think we all have some of these in our life, but it's like it makes me want to like physically crawl into a box and like tape myself shut so that no one can see me, because I'm so like ashamed of having done this thing. Like when I was, I don't know how old. I mean, I use a kid very liberally. I don't actually know how old I was. But my older brother had a friend came over with their Game Boy, and they had a Mario game on it, but it was not in English. My brother's friend was from a family that was half Chinese, and they had a Mario game that was not in English text on it. And I'd asked if I could play it, and they were like, yeah, you can play it, just don't mess with the save games or anything. And because I didn't understand the menu, and there was like this menu where it was like a physical menu, like you moved around and you could go down these different tubes, and one of the things was like a picture of a bomb, so you could go down the picture of a bomb, and then you came back out as a bomb, and you go in the other tubes. I wound up deleting their save games.
Oh no.
And honestly, like to this day, like the thought of that makes me want to crawl away and die. Like I just can't believe, like, because I think they put so many hours into it, and I just deleted them because I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay, well that's fine, but I would put that on them. Who is the asshole in this scenario? It wasn't you, because you were given a game where you couldn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
And that's not your fault if you messed something up. It wasn't your responsibility. It was theirs, because it was their game.
They shouldn't have just said don't mess with the file. It'd be like, if you do this will happen. Please don't do that.
Like it was not explained to me, and it was not in English, so it was a bit like, but still, I don't know. Like,
still, like,
I mean, okay. You feel a bit upset that you got rid of someone's game, but I don't think you can blame yourself. I wouldn't be blaming myself. It's I didn't know what I was doing, and you're older than me, and you should have known better.
I think they had like a massive go at my brother. They didn't have it at me because they didn't know me that well. But then my brother was, I have a good brother. He's a good brother. But yeah, I just remember like when I sort of worked out what happened, I was just like, I'm sure you've all had like a moment like that in your life, not like exactly like that, but a moment which, when you think about it, like it physically makes you feel like, oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, I had a fairly like similar experience actually. 1 year at school, I think I was in year 6, it might have been year 5. So final couple of years of primary school. We were allowed, it was like one of the last days of term and like of the school year, and we were allowed to bring our DSs and things in. And like all our toys and some of our favorite toys and stuff. And this kid had given his DS to somebody else. I was sitting like near the shed or something, and they put it right next to me, shouted at him that it was next to me, and it was closed. It looked like it was turned off. So I picked it up, just popped the game cartridge out because I was curious to see what it was, popped it back down again. Turns out it wasn't turned off. And so years later he came up to, like, I hadn't seen him, we didn't go to the same secondary school, and years later he came up to me and was like, by the way, you corrupted my game and I couldn't get past this point and all this sort of stuff. And I felt
that's definitely not your fault.
I felt horrible for it for ages, and they like kept using it against me that, you know, I destroyed his DS and things like that. It's like,
oh my god,
why on earth would you put it on the floor of a playground when and then why wouldn't you have turned it off beforehand? Why would it still be on? So it took me years to get over the fact that it wasn't my fault for that. But so I completely understand where you're coming from, because I still feel that guilt, even though I know in my head it was not my fault.
Like I want to like say to you, like, it's not your fault, and so I get it. I really do.
I have exactly the same story as well. We had a day like that at the end of our school, and it was in year 6. So I would have been 11. And instead of DSs, we were old, so we had Game Boys. Although it was a Game Boy Color, and this one guy brought in his Game Boy Color, and it was one of those like with the clear plastic on it, so you could see inside, and he had Pokemon Pearl.
No, so it would have been either red, yellow, or blue, or silver.
It wasn't red, yellow, blue.
Silver, gold, or crystal.
Crystal, crystal. Red, yellow, and blue was before that. I'm older than you think, apparently. Thanks for that.
I'm just going through all the ones that were on the Game Boy. I wasn't suggesting anything.
And I ended up with it in my hand. I don't even know how, because we weren't friends. And I started a new game, and he spotted I'd started a new game. He went, "Oh, just don't save it." I was like, "Yeah, all right then. I won't save it." I don't know what happened. I don't even know how I managed to save it. I think it might have just been habit from playing.
It's never happened before.
Habit of playing on mine, because then when I went to put it down, I just automatically went save, overwrite, and put it down. And I got rid of his game where he got past the Elite Four and everything, and he was, or whatever it is at the end of that game, and he was done. He was on end game. He was breeding and stuff. All gone.
How'd you feel about that? And what did you do to make it up to him? Really? Did you make him cookies?
If I'm being brutally honest, he was quite the bully.
Oh,
he bullied me.
Purpose.
No, I genuinely didn't do it on purpose, but I certainly didn't feel bad that I did.
Totally did on purpose. I know you. You had a gun.
Right, she'd been to New York City. She'd got her gun.
That's right.
I'd crossed the border into Texas. I had an AK-47 on each arm.
Draft, you have one of these kind of
really
stories?
bad for this guy now.
Is it awful to say that it's made me feel a tiny bit better that I'm not the only person who's ever done something like this?
Absolutely not.
Like we said, we've all got these kinds of stories, haven't we?
Everyone's done something like that. You're a kid, it's an accident, and you don't need to feel bad. You've apologised. I didn't apologise because he was a kid. But you guys apologised, and that's what matters.
Yeah, it took me a really long time. This is just a general upbringing thing. It took me a really long time to understand that apology is a thing you can do. Like, you can say sorry. I've made up for it since, I think, but I think I was.
You say sorry a lot.
I must have been like 9.
You don't need to always say sorry. You
now
don't
I
need
overdo
to make
it.
all those last years.
Well, that's because like the first 10 years of my life, it was just not part of my vocabulary. Fuck that.
Yeah, but that's just like a British thing. It's like someone will walk into me and I'll apologise to them.
Oh yeah.
I apologise to furniture.
Oh, I do that.
I legitimately have. I walked into a cupboard and go, "Oh, sorry. Wait."
You're
Very
an
important
okay.
question. Do you guys have like an assistant of some sort? I have Alexa, Google, anybody,
I do. I've got
Siri.
Alexas all over the house.
I have
Do you
Alexa.
say thank you to it? I do.
No, because she really annoys me. I don't say thank you
Oh.
unless it's in a really sarcastic manner.
But she turns on my lights and she tells me the weather. Oh, we're in such
I'm
polite
not
terms.
right. I'm not that techie, right? I really wanted like these Alexas, and I was like, I want one in the bedroom, and I do, and I've got an Echo Show in the bedroom, and I've got an Echo Show in the kitchen, and I'm like, oh, it's great in the kitchen. It's got this screen. It can show me recipes. I can ask her this, and I can tell her get her to do that for me. Do you know what it is? It's a glorified timer and Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, it is that.
That's it. That's all she
Oh.
does. And for the most part, she doesn't even listen to me. So I end up right, Alexa, start timer 10 minutes. Alexa, start timer 10 minutes. I mean, a few days ago, I was right up next to it, practically screaming at the damn thing, and it wouldn't listen to me.
Damn it, Alexa.
Alexa, set timer 10 minutes. Well, no, 7 minutes because you'll be listening.
Oh no, Alexa's heard me talk.
Oh, are you on speaker?
No, but I keep saying her name.
Okay, can you
mind.
Can you just unplug your headphones for a second?
No, I don't trust you. We're not doing that.
Go on, do it.
No, it's
I'm
not
not
happening.
gonna do it.
I've had enough streamers done dirty things to my Alexa.
Oh, the best one
Yeah.
I did for my parents have also got them all over the house because they copied me. And well, they were out one time and I was there. I went round onto each one and it's like, Alexa, remind me at 3 a.m. in the morning to go back to sleep.
Oh.
Oh my god.
But the thing is, they don't have them in the bedroom, they have them downstairs. But my mum uses it as a speaker for when she's all over the house, so she has it ridiculously loud, so they wouldn't be able to hear it.
Oh, see, that just reminds me of like,
I can't stop giggling. Imagining my dad stomping downstairs. Because it's so loud, he's got to go right up to it to get it to stop. Because she can't hear him.
Oh my
This is
god.
definitely a commercial for Alexas.
oh, that just reminds me of when people used to change like their Xbox names to Xbox off or something like that. So when people got angry at them and would yell their gamer tag, they'd say Xbox off and it would turn their Xbox off.
Oh my god.
My favorite one to do to other people, like what I just wanted to do to Giraffe, is Alexa play Despacito.
Yeah, that happens a lot. The people have caught on. So whenever I am, if I happen to be on a call with my friends or something, and they know the names of my lamp, they know what to play. So yeah, they would do that quite often. So I have started being a little more careful and wearing my headphones just in case.
Stop ruining my fun. As you could tell, I have a lot of fun.
No, I've learned. I am wise now.
I'll find something.
Yeah. No, I don't think I can do that.
Mustache twirling.
No buying. It was like, 5 assorted sex toys, please.
Oh no, but that doesn't work because sometimes you do actually have to confirm it, don't you?
I have no idea. I disable the functionality.
I actually do reorder the ground coffee that I buy for my espressos on it. When I realise I've got none left, it's like, shit, Alexa, order more coffee.
Does it work?
I really thought Cauliflower
yeah,
was going to finish that sentence by saying, so that doesn't work because sometimes you do want to buy more sex toys. So
Oh, that's actually reminded me of this. There's an advert at the moment that I see on YouTube a lot, and it's advertising this security system or this like these cameras, and the way they're advertising it is by showing the animals doing funny things in the house and then having like a commentary team talking over the top of them.
I saw that the cat that jumps up and pulls the ladder down.
Yeah, that's the exact one, and I just think it's brilliant advertising because it's like, you want to watch it because usually when there's an advert, oh, get it off. But you're like, funny animals. And it's advertising this like, check whether it's like a burglar or your pet kind of thing, like going crazy.
Is it the Ring? I think it's the Ring ones. I have a Ring doorbell and I thought, this is great. I'm going to be able to talk to people. Oh, I'm not there right now. Can you put it here, please? Do you know what I used it for? To watch for the takeaway drivers. And then in true typical British fashion, when I see them pull up, I don't go and wait with the door, my hand outstretched. I was like, right, wait for them to knock, now count to 5. and open the door.
They make them think that you've been sitting but waiting.
No, they don't think I've been sitting waiting. It was like, oh, you were fast. What a surprise! Wasn't expecting you. Yeah, yeah, right.
We kind
Spend
of
a lot
like
of time thinking about this, do you?
I always
spend
think
a lot of time doing it.
I always think we might look a little bit like meerkats because we peek our head out the window every time we hear a car like food. Just like popping our heads up and down like, is there food here?
No, see, we're like the seagulls from Finding Nemo. Like,
Mine.
mine. Like when you're in a restaurant in the food and you're really hungry and the food's starting to come out, you're like, mine? Is that mine? Mine? Oh, it's gone past me.
I think there's one thing we haven't spoken about, which I think is incredibly important, and I can't believe we haven't already discussed it. And that's, what are our Halloween costumes for this year?
Yeah.
I am going as an exhausted parent.
Truly terrifying.
Really terrifying.
It's going to be
An
tough to get
exhausted
into
parent.
the
I
guess the mentality.
Yeah, as I drag two kids around in the freezing cold British climate that is October, trick or treating, and then I'm going to try not to eat all sweets.
Ooh, how does trick or treating in the UK work?
Not quite. It's got a lot bigger over the past few years, and the houses have started to decorate. We never used to decorate. Usually, the thing is, if there's a pumpkin outside, you will go knock on their door.
Yeah. My parents always used to say only go to a house if it's got decorations, if it hasn't.
If it's got a pumpkin, you can go. So we've got two pumpkins that we're gonna carve. Yeah, a jack-o'-lantern if it's got a pumpkin.
Yeah.
So you do see a lot more kids around now, and I always make sure I've got sweets and stuff in. And then I remember I bought these sweets and everything for the kids coming round because I loved seeing the kids in the costumes. And then I forgot to actually put the jack-o'-lantern in the window.
She forgot.
So no one
She forgot, and then she had to do all of the sweets on her own.
No, I buy myself extra sweets on Halloween. Thank you very
yourself.
much.
I love it. You buy yourself treats. As long as at least you're honest about it.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna dress up as anything? That's
no, probably not. I might put like some horns on or or a witch's hat or something like that. But the kids, we went out shopping for the kids' costumes today, so we got the little girl as a fairy princess, and the boy is going to be a spooky skeleton.
Very cool.
And
What else? The baby? No, the baby won't be coming. It's too cold, too late for him. So he can be at home and he can disguise himself as a screaming annoyance.
No one will ever know.
What is everybody else's costumes? Is anyone else dressing up as anything?
I don't have one, I'm afraid. No exciting Halloween plans at the moment. I'm not sure. I might be going to see my niece because her birthday's on Halloween. And if I do, I might have to improvise some sort of spooky outfit, but I haven't got a plan right now.
I've got this this dress. I bought it a few years ago, and I really love it because it's one of those dresses that you can wear to like kind of formal occasions. But the way it's sort of styled, you can very easily turn it into a witch's dress as well. So all I need to do is add a hat to it, and it looks witchy because it's a really nice dark green, and then it's got like a tail almost at the back of it, like it's longer at the back than it is at the front. So.
It's called a dipped hem. I had a dress like that. Sorry.
It's really cool. No, it's fine. But yeah, I love it because it's very easy to turn it into a witch's dress. So that's often my go-to at the minute.
Giraffe, what do you have a Halloween costume?
Oh, I'm doing it. Okay, so remember those inflatable dinosaurs of yore?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I got a giraffe.
Oh, I love it.
That is just like the most amazing thing in the world.
It is, and I have concerns. I haven't tried it on yet. I've received it, but I haven't tried it on yet. And concern number one is it's actually something like 8 feet.
Oh my god!
Yeah, but they're not solid. So when you're going through a door, it'll just bend over.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope
you have to send me pictures and videos so I can put it all over our social media.
I will document the shit out of this.
Is going on the podcast social media.
You are off the podcast.
No,
I am not a joke.
Absolutely doing it. I am most certainly documenting this because it's going to be amazing. So, I think
since like myself and Tree don't actually have a Halloween costume to talk about, what was our favourite Halloween costume of days past that we wore? Maybe to go trick or treating or a party.
I
when
have
you were a
a
kid or an adult?
I have a confession to make. This is gonna be my first Halloween costume ever.
Oh,
You always remember your first.
Oh,
I will remember it. Yeah, I hope it
Oh, that's
works.
awesome. You have
The
to
other
try it on.
problem with it, well, no, I will. I might even stream with it on, to be honest, because
Oh my
because it's my first time.
God.
It's my
oh, that
first
would be
time. I'm gonna have to
amazing.
do it. Yeah. The other problem is that I'm not totally sure I'll reach the little window for the face because I think it might be made for people taller than
I can
me.
relate to
Yeah.
that so much.
So I might like be hopping within the costume to try to see where I'm going. It's gonna be great.
Has anyone else got their favorite costume?
I used to have like an imp costume. So I had this little like trident, very little staff trident thing. I had these headband horns and this red dress that had a tail. And yeah, I remember I had that. I remember how old I was. I think I must have been like 10 or 11, because my parents were very not anti trick or treating, but we didn't go when we were kids. It wasn't until I was a teenager that we actually did a bit of trick or treating, and even then we stopped after a few years because we got too old for it. So it was it was mostly staying in and going to Halloween parties more than actual trick or treating or anything like that.
Bree, have you got a favorite costume?
got a favorite. Like I love witchy outfits and stuff, but like I haven't got like one like iconic one in my head. Yeah, I'm feeling very disappointing in the Halloween section. I'm trying to think if there's something I can remember, but
I have one that it was so last minute. So when my sister was about like 16, she went through this massive goth phase, a huge goth phase. Like we're both ginger, so she went black hair, white face, black eyeshadow, big thick black eyeliner. And for her prom, she got custom made like a gothic black prom dress, and it was absolutely beautiful. And she also had my mum and my nan make her a cloak. So for Dizzy and Tree, you might know the Scottish Widows.
yes.
Those adverts with the women with the cloaks up. So think of something like that, right? So it was really last minute. I wasn't going to go to the Halloween party at high school. And I thought, oh, go on, then I will, because the rest of my friends are. But I needed a costume. So I ran down to Asda like the day before it, and they had basically nothing left. The only thing I could really find that would go with anything was this mask, and it was like a hood. And I could see out of it, but you couldn't see me. So it made me faceless. And I teamed that with this cloak that my sister had made. So, and I'd have the hood up, and I'd be walking around the halls and everything at school, and nobody knew who I was. And I scared the shit out of so many people because I just made it my mission to scare as many people as possible. So people would be dressed up in like witches and zombies and stuff like that, and I would just go and like stand behind them.
Oh,
my God.
And they'd have no idea who I was. And then they'd turn around and get freaked out, and then I would just turn away, and this cloak would be billowing out behind me as I kind of stomped away, and everything was like, fucking who was that? And it was like the talk of the school all over the place. Like, who was that creepy person? And then like a few weeks
On
later,
brand.
it was absolutely on brand. A few weeks later, Game of Thrones got this idea from me. It was basically I said that to tell everyone it was me. Mic drop. That's my favorite costume.
See, that story kind of reminds me of One World Book Day. So my school did a thing, my secondary school, where all of a sudden they decided that the kids couldn't dress up for World Book Day. They could come in non-uniform, but only the teachers could dress up, which I thought was absolutely bullshit. Yeah, it was incredibly boring. But so what happened was one of the teachers, my favorite was there were two English teachers who were dressed up as Lenny and George from Of Mice and Men, which was hilarious. But there was another English teacher, and for some reason she was obsessed with the woman in black, and she came to school dressed as the woman in black.
Great, it's for a World Book Day.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And it's just like, why? Like, she kept wanting to show because I remember my sister was really upset because this teacher kept trying to show them The Woman in Black. I think she was trying to show them the TV series rather than the Daniel Radcliffe movie. But yeah, she just kept trying to show them The Woman in Black, and my mum went to like write in to say no, my daughter's like really scared, because they were 14 at this point, I think.
Yeah, that's a
and
bit
so she
much.
was like, no, I don't really want to watch it. And she was just obsessed with it for some reason. She just kept wanting to read the book or watch the series or something. And then she came to school at World Book Day dressed as her instead. It's like, not quite. I don't think that's quite appropriate for secondary school kids.
Furious Googling ensues. Carry on.
Talk amongst yourselves for a little while,
Yeah,
ladies.
I will totally catch up. And oh, that's a movie. Okay.
I've never actually seen the movie. I have heard it's
Neither.
quite tense.
I think the movie isn't 18, but the TV series was something like a 15.
On Netflix, isn't it?
I don't know. Like I said earlier, I'm not into horror movies, so I've not seen it. But I do know it's quite an intense.
I hadn't seen it either, but
watch.
I'm looking at pictures on Google now, which apparently we all are, and I'm thinking that is quite an intense look for school. That is quite an intense look to show up as a teacher.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that is an epic, gorgeous dress, but
I mean, part of the like, I know a little bit about it, and part of it is if you see her, you die.
Oh my god!
And specifically, children die.
Oh my god!
No,
it's quite intense. And to say that this was a teacher who came, and it was just. Yeah, my mum complained a little bit about that to the school. But yeah, that's that. Just you talking about a cloak, and that just put that image of that teacher dressed up as the Woman in Black in my mind.
Do you like the rest of you?
If it was Halloween, if it was Halloween, I could get behind that. That's like, that's fine. It's Halloween. It's supposed to be scary. But for World Book Day, I mean, you're supposed to wrap a bandage around a kid and say it's Mr. Bump. Not that I've done that because I forgot. But...
Do the rest of you like scary movies? Because Dizzy said she didn't. I'm just curious if everyone else does or not.
It depends on the type of scary movies. I'm not really a fan of like paranormal stuff. They don't really scare me. The movie that really just shook me to my core in terms of scary movies was Eden Lake.
I haven't seen it.
What's that?
Oh, it's two people go camping and they get terrorized by these kids.
Oh, I think I've heard of that one actually.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's shocking, absolutely shocking. And that did shake me to my core and had me for a bit. But for the most part, scary movies don't usually scare me. The jumpy bits might get me, but in terms of actually properly scaring me, not really. But Eden Lake definitely did.
I think like a real love-hate with horror stuff. Like I quite like being scared, but I also like, God, I saw Nightmare on Elm Street when I was way too young for it. Like I had a friend who was, I don't know, does everyone have a friend like this? I feel like lots of people have a friend who's like the one friend who like wants to show off by like showing like how cool they are and how they've got the stuff that teenagers should have when they shouldn't. And they had Nightmare on Elm Street, and I like literally had to sleep on the floor of my parents' room because he comes in your sleep and gets you. Like,
yeah,
like that's horrendous as a child.
Still haven't watched it, so
I sometimes think like if I went back and watched it now, I'd probably find it really laughable because like it's all
they've done a remake.
Yeah, they did.
But I just don't want to. Like I don't want to go near it. Like so, like I've had horror movies that have like really like haunted me, but I do still quite like them sometimes. Like I do like being scared. The right mindset.
Yeah,
like I like being scared when I've got people with me.
To hold hands. My parents let me watch Poltergeist about the age of 9.
Well, it's first you play Doom, then you watch Poltergeist.
I know, you're quite right on that one. But no, that was a bit much for me, especially because we
Oh.
still had all the old tellies, so they'd go on static.
Oh God!
I-
Oh no!
So like the telly would go on static, and I'd run away to play Doom.
Your safe space.
My safe space. Yeah. Are you looking at pictures of that one now too?
Yeah, that's actually exactly it. I haven't seen any of the classic horror films. I don't know any of them. No Elm Street, no Chainsaw, no Friday the 13th, like none of this. And I'm
Yeah.
perfectly okay with that. I had to watch Scream in
I
summer
love
camp, which is also
Scream.
shady decision on
That is a shady decision, though.
by the summer camp counselors. But I watched Scream and I got through the first scene, the iconic like "Let's kill Drew Barrymore" scene,
yeah.
and I still have nightmares about that. So I
Do
haven't seen the
you?
rest
Oh
of it.
God! I mean, that was awful. That
Terrible.
first scene, actually.
See,
Terrible.
it's not
It
a
is
horror
awful.
film. It's not.
Yeah.
There's something that's not even remotely scary, but it caused me to have the worst nightmare of my entire life, to the point that I
Was
still
it
remember this.
the new Willy Wonkas with those lumpers?
No, I'll tell you what it was. So I was 5 when I watched
no.
this movie, and we had it on VHS, and I think my mum had to sell it because I refused to watch it after I had this nightmare, because I still remember this nightmare to this day. It was Barbie and the Nutcracker.
Oh my God!
And what scared me is right at the very end, the Rat King, who is like the big bad throughout this entire thing, right at the very end, he magically like grows, and he grows enormous to the point that he's gigantic. Although I watched it again recently, he doesn't grow that big. But when I was 5, he grew enormous, and that just terrified me to the point that I started dreaming about rats in and trying to get away from these rats. And I still remember this nightmare to this very day, but I was 5. And yeah, my mum was like, okay, you're never watching that movie again, because I got so scared by it. But I watched it again recently after nearly 20 years, and it's like, I can watch this again. I'm okay now.
Barbie.
Listen,
Only
Steven.
Barbie.
You know when something terrifies, like it's not a logical terror, but you're so young and it terrifies you to a point that you do not want to go near it again. Because I knew that it caused this nightmare, I just did not want to go near it, and so I finally sat down and watched it, and I was like, okay, I can enjoy this again, because I do have good memories of it. There are some sections of the movie that I have really good memories of, but yeah, it was just this point where this rat grew huge, and it just terrified me to a point where I had the worst nightmare of my entire life.
Oh, your next Halloween costume, giant inflatable rat.
Oh my God, yes.
Gotta be.
Has anyone here watched Watership Down?
Yes.
Nope.
I refuse to. I know
it's
what happens in
horrendous.
that. I know,
idea.
but I'm
That's
not.
a kids' movie, guys. That's a kids' movie. Because
No idea.
Techno has never watched it, and he was watching a video of some guys that go through like special effects animations on YouTube, and he turns around to me and goes, "I've never watched Watership Down." I'm like, "Oh, all right."
It's a lovely
I'm
rabbit
watching
movie.
some like clips of it now, and it is absolutely terrifying. I'm like, "Yeah," and you're 30.
What is
That was for kids. Google it.
Oh, okay. On it. I already have a tab open. Next. Watership Down.
But I was about to say as well, like, because I think they've remade this recently. I haven't seen the remake, but do you remember like the movie The Witches? Because the movie The Witches was
Loved it.
really scary. I loved it as well, but it was
Yeah,
scary.
I can't type this fast. Hold on.
I was scared of the book of The Witches, because in The Witches book there was a picture of the witches with like the wigs
Oh
off
my
and
God.
everything, and I had to like cover the picture whenever I read the book.
What
I
is
had to cover the
this?
picture because it scared me so much.
It's terrifying. What is this?
Which
Which
one?
one?
The witches. Well, actually, both of them.
You
Yeah,
might be
I'm just
looking at the
looking at
new
images. They're
Witches. There's
both
an older Witches,
something.
which
It
was when we
even
were kids.
worse.
Well, it's a book by Roald Dahl, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it's no Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and it's certainly no James and the Giant Peach.
I mean, there are some which are like, they're not scary in of itself, but when you are older and you go back to it, I think it's the Twits, that what happens to them is actually horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
It is. I loved that book, but I remember reading it. I was like, Jesus Christ.
If anybody who's not
pretty
aware
good.
of what happens to the Twits, they are this couple who are really, really horrible people, and they get super glue on their head, and then they do a handstanding competition. I can't remember why they get super glue on their head, or I think it's they pretend that it's like a bird having pooed on them, and it's actually super glue, and they stand on their heads to do something. I can't remember what, but they get stuck to the floor and they shrink into their own bodies. And it's just like, this is a children's book. This is actually horrifying.
Roald Dahl was pretty twisted.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I thought in the Twits, I can't remember anymore. I thought the Twits was like someone like glues all their furniture to the ceiling because
That's
to, like,
it. That's
to
why they
punish
stand on their
them for being
heads.
mean.
Yeah, so they put glue
And
on
then
their heads
they-
and
That's
yeah.
why they stand. Yeah, that's why
they.
they stand on their head so that they are the right way up again. Yes, that was correct. But then because they've got the super glue on their heads, which they don't put on it, I think it's the kids who they're terrorizing do it. They do it, and they stand on their heads so that they're the correct way up again, and their heads shrink into their necks shrink into their shoulders, and it's like,
Yes.
oh my god.
Roald Dahl's like actually, I think he's like actually quite sadistic with like some of these stories. But as a kid, I loved him. Loved them.
Those books were.
But-
Yeah.
The slavery
as
of
a
those poor Oompa Loompas. Oompa Loompa lives matter.
Those types of books, right? They're both for children and the adults that are reading them for the children, perhaps.
Yeah.
Where the
Yeah,
adults are
definitely.
getting a very different picture than the kids are.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I love those
Yeah.
kinds of shows and things where it's like you've got two different viewpoints so that you can enjoy it again in a different way when you're older.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
what I love about it, is that you go back to it and you're like, oh, I never saw this. I never
It's
saw
like most
anything.
most of the Disney movies, when you go back, I watch them with the kids, and I'm all like, that's a dirty joke.
Especially the dirty jokes.
Especially the dirty jokes. And I'm like, I just laughed at that because the adults were laughing. I didn't actually realise what they were laughing at, though.
Mommy, why are you laughing?
Well, you just laugh because like, apparently that's funny, so I better laugh. Then when you get older, you think, it's a sex joke.
I feel like that's maybe a natural point that we've come to. I've just realised though, I have realised I haven't given a guinea pig tip.
Yes, we need our
Given the theme and given the fact that we've been talking about costumes, should you decide to dress up said guinea pig, then you need to ensure that it is not too tight around their neck, because their necks are very like squished up against their body, so it can be difficult to tell like where it sort of is, but also that they can escape from the costume. So if you want to get a costume, make sure you take pictures very quickly and you don't keep the pig in for too long, because it can be quite uncomfortable for them and might hurt their spine, but a short amount of time is fine for them. Also, pumpkins don't have very much nutritional value for guinea pigs, so if you're going to feed them pumpkin, don't give them an entire pumpkin and leave it at that. They need other things as well, or give them a little bit of the pumpkin at a time. But yeah, that is my Halloween guinea pig tip.
Going
The wise
back
words.
to the guinea pig dressing up segment, you really sound like you're talking from experience. Do you want to tell us about that?
I watched a
Definitely.
YouTube video where somebody was dressing up her guinea pig, and one of the they were rating the different outfits, and one of the so a lot of them were like a little bit tight around the neck, but she was also judging them on how easy the guinea pig could be self-yeeted out of the costume. She didn't yeet the guinea pig out. The guinea pig
You didn't eat the
yeeted.
guinea pig.
I'm
Thank
using
God you
her
didn't.
words. I'm using her words. But yeah, so there was this amazing video where this guinea pig was dressing up as an avocado, a shark, and a lobster. It was
my
very
goodness.
adorable. But yeah, so we wanted to do some shout outs. Who would like to do the shout outs this time?
I will do one of them. We would like to give a massive shout out to the Two Drunk Flings podcast. Please go and check them out. They have some fantastic content.
Also, we'll give them a shout out. They haven't asked for it, but the Game Over Man podcast as well, who are quite closely linked to the Two Drunklings, but they talk about retro games.
Just shouting out to Tara Kitty, who is a lovely streamer who streams. I want to say Blood Bowl and other games, but
I
I'm not
believe she
100%
does
sure.
stream some other games. I think she does some Dead by Daylight.
She does, yeah. She's
Speaking
a
of.
lovely streamer. Please go check her out and make sure you give her a follow.
Doesn't cost anything. Hit the button.
And please don't forget to check out Dizzy Bess, Misspelled Tree, and Seriously I'm a Giraffe on Twitch, and hit that button and give them a follow. We would love to see you around.
And we will see you in the next episode, which will be in November. And stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.